Hello, Reject Nation. It's Greg Alba here.
And I'm John.
One of the things that does best on all of the YouTubes is superhero movies.
And lists.
So today we're going to combine it by ranking the superhero movies of 2017.
Boy, howdy.
What I would really love for you to keep in mind is that this is our opinion and opinions are objective. Yes. Meaning these are the only correct opinions.
Yeah.
So if you disagree with us, you can comment. It's just engagement for the channel, so that would be appreciated. But I'm also letting you know you are in fact wrong and we are the almighty.
Factual errors in your argument.
You might feel that way, but I'm being sincere.
But it's my feelings that we judge this on.
Yes. All right, so we got 8 comic book movies to cover here. Number 8.
Whew.
Here we go. Get ready to get mad for this being number 8. Does that mean we hate number 8? No, it's just number 8. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we have reviews for all these movies up on the channel. The best way we're going to cover this is by just going off of the feelings we have. Because movies are an emotional experience, and those are the ones that really stick with you.
And things change over the course of a year, you know, like once you've seen something and been away from it for a while, the things you remember, you know? And
speaking of things changing, I feel like a second viewing of Guardians of the Galaxy might enhance my opinions, or I might find things better about it. What I remember feeling about it was the film was a little uneven, the comedy beats didn't quite hit for me a lot of the time, and you know, there's some stuff to appreciate. I know you really love the Yondu storyline.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite subplots this year.
I think Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer is a cool movie.
Yeah. You know, that's really what the Guardians of the Galaxy needed to really break out into
real
fresh
Michael
territory.
Rooker. Yeah.
Just that real, like, gritty, disturbing Michael Rooker, yeah.
But I'd also say that Kurt Russell was enjoyable in it. I mean, there are things, the issues that we have with the film, I kind of feel like that's where my feelings have stuck with. Yeah. In terms of it's just not as enjoyable as I hoped it would have been, and maybe there's some minor comparison stuff to the first one that holds back some love for the film. But right now, it's just number 8. Do I like it? Yeah. Do I love it? Not enough to be number 1.
Yeah, I think back on, like, I enjoyed my time watching it, but at the same time, it kind of let me down. I'm in the middle about it. It's all right.
So number 7 on this list. You're thinking, okay, which DC, EU, or MCU film is it? It's not either. The Lego Batman movie.
Hey.
Lego Batman movie was a hilarious film, and Will Arnett killed it in there. And the animation is really awesome, and in some ways, it's one of the better movies at its comic book references and just honoring the comic book world of Gotham. I feel like they really brought Gotham to life in this movie.
Well, it's the big scale cartoon movie. It's the animated movie of the superheroes right now, because, you know, we get the DC and the Marvel ones on the smaller scale, but this is like huge, you know, franchise film.
Did I love the film as much as everyone else did? I don't think I did, but I can certainly appreciate this film full-heartedly, and that's why it's a big standout for me. So intellectually, I really feel it for the Lego Batman movie. Emotionally, not as strong.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I really enjoy... I remember enjoying the movie. It's not stuck with me, really. It's not anything I hadn't seen before. I'll probably revisit it at some point and have a better time. You know, I feel like that one might be a grower for me.
I'm definitely a grower.
Haha.
Oh, Christmas. Number 6 on this list is a film I really loved, and I didn't want to take the time to argue with John over a list. So
dude, where would you have?
I would have put this as number. Can I just put it at number 5?
Sure.
Do you know what movie I'm? You know. Okay, so number 6 now is Kingsman: The Golden Circle. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah, that's what it's called. That's what the film is called. With the
I thought it was called the Golden Secret Service. Right?
No. That's the second draft of the title before they arrived at that.
Now, Kingsman: The Golden Circle is better rated than the movie that I put at number 5. But Kingsman: The Golden Circle, that's another movie this year that I feel like I defended and John defended too.
I enjoyed that movie
because I thought it was a super enjoyable film. I thought there were some great action scenes. A lot of it made me laugh. Was it flawed? Most definitely. Is it better than the first one? No, it's not. The film is thoroughly enjoyable. There's everything you want in a Kingsman movie is there. Yeah, and it's effective. Yeah.
It's another episode of the Kingsman, basically.
It's all I really cared about.
And its way of, you know, aping James Bond and, you know, poking at those tropes and stuff and updating them for now, that works. You know, I'm not mad at it for doing that.
Yeah, and anything that's repetitive or doesn't really hit the mark so strong, I don't really care about it. I was
strong. Merlin!
I'm wearing a comic book shirt too.
From the Philippines.
Yup. Pino.
Bat Phil.
Bat Pino.
Bat Pino.
Number 5 on this list is a movie that was the highest rated movie of all time on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a film that I saw the first time and really enjoyed, and I watched it a second time and walked out loving it. One of the most debated films of the year, Justice League.
Woo!
So Justice League is high on my list because while I recognize the flaws that people have with it, I don't agree 100% with all the flaws.
100%.
If there's even a 100% chance this movie is good. Those are great odds, Bruce.
I mean, I get you this time. Yeah. Usually it's like 1 or 2 or something.
Yeah, you're really low ballpark you got here. Do I think this film could have been longer? Sure. There's some CGI that's a little bit off. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Overall, I just had a great time watching this film. Maybe because I'm just a sucker for like a cool mashup and seeing some of these characters together for the first time. But especially on a second viewing, I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie a lot. I think it's super fun. I think they handle pretty much majority of the characters really well. There's some cool action scenes and they finally make Superman cool.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I had problems with the movie too, but when I think back on it, I have a, generally good-natured feeling about it. Like, I enjoyed myself more than I did it, and there is some stuff that I thought was really cool to see brought to life. It still suffers from, the DC sort of blender. There are some great moments, and yeah, like, I can see how it is still an enjoyable cartoon,
Yeah.
And I had a good time in that way. I'm not a
great cartoon.
Each one so far just, stuck with me a little more. Like, that's how this ranking is working.
That's how I'm building this list.
Yeah,
exactly. How it stuck with us.
Because we talked a lot about Justice League too. Like, I'm not upset having it at number 5. Just because quality-wise I might have rated it lower. Like, the impact, if we're assembling like year-end lists. Like, yeah, I'm with you. And I support your love of the film.
Well, number 4 on this list, people, is a movie that we all knew would be a good installment.
Yes.
Spiderman Homecoming.
Haha!
Weirdly, this is a film I saw twice, and the second time I watched it, I actually didn't like it as much. The first time I saw it, I thought it was a really great film, and then the second time I was like, oh, this is just... It's a good movie. You gotta give the film a lot of credit because there's a lot of moments in this movie that are very funny, a lot of great heart in it, and most importantly, Tom Holland kills it. That's something that the second time I felt even stronger about. Tom Holland as Spider-Man did what some might call the impossible, but I think because 2 other actors have done it pretty well too.
Yeah,
but
Matt Damon and Naomi Watts.
I thought Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield both give different Peter Parkers, which were really good Peter Parkers, but then you get Tom Holland's, which is another different version, but is also the closest to the Peter Parker that I know.
Peter Parker.
Yeah. And because of that alone, this is a new redefining Spider-Man. I feel like Andrew Garfield is looked at as the second Spider-Man, and
James Dean Spider-Man.
Some might say Tobey Maguire is a defining Spider-Man, but I would say Tom Holland is like the redefining one, and that was a big mantle he had to take up, and I thought he killed it. I'm excited to see him in more films.
Yeah, and the movie's got a memorable villain with some memorable, plot punches in his
best
story.
MCU villain.
Michael Keaton does a great job, and that character is pretty interesting for once.
Yeah, and Ned is funny.
Donald Glover's in it.
Yeah, there's some hilarious moments in that film. Number 3 on this list is a movie that it's a fucking movie.
It's a cartoon again.
Thor Ragnarok.
Third time's a charm with the Thor Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok is a debatable film in the film community, I notice, because people will often argue about, is there too much comedy in this film? Is it too funny?
Oh yeah, I know some folks who are not pleased.
I've heard a lot of people say that about this movie.
Yeah.
And then some people will go down to jokes that just didn't work for them, but I'm like, you only name a couple of jokes. That's a comedy for you.
Yeah.
Like, if I walked out of, I don't know, The Hangover, and was like, there's a little too much jokes in here, because there were a few jokes I didn't like.
The gripe I understand that people have brought up is they feel like some of the characters are sort of misrepresented because of the comedy. Like, making Loki sort of much more of a kind of quivering, like Nancy in this movie is a betrayal to some folks,
also,
and I get it.
What happens at Asgard, there's kind of a funny punchline in there. That's the one complaint that I really agreed about was how they handled Thor's old team, of how they kind of just get killed off like they don't mean anything. Spoiler if you haven't seen Ragnarok. I will also say I don't really care about those guys now that I think about it. I know they were important to Thor, but I don't really remember any of their names. The film to me was a combination of everything I would want in a movie from the MCU. I think it's MCU's best movie this year because it is hilarious. And face it, guys, it's one of their signature staples is MCU movies can be pretty funny. Yeah. The movie's hilarious. The designs of the film are incredible. The CGI and the visual effects is great. Chris Hemsworth redefining Thor was beautifully done. He's
and the whole
excellent.
Hulk storyline.
The whole Hulk storyline was great. All the other side characters are really fantastic. There's also some yeah, that's my director. There's also some great action scenes that I can still remember.
The movie does everything that a Marvel movie ought to do with pretty flying colors for the most part. And, you know, and however you feel about the comedy or not, the comedic tone I think really works in this movie.
It still stands out, and it's arguably the most fun I've had all year.
And it uses all of its elements, you know, to its advantage. Like, it doesn't lose any of it's like it's a full-on fantasy, but it also addresses the bigger universe, and it also gets out into some of the cosmic stuff.
Yeah.
And it utilizes, you know, the characters. They made a distinct movie with this one, and they also managed to redefine the Thor series that needed like a terrific installment.
Yeah, and they finally got one.
Yeah, you got Kate Blanchett and Tessa Thompson too, who are like two totally badass female characters, you know, and Marvel's gotten a lot of flack for that over the years, and it's like they're effortless in that movie, how awesome they are.
And Chris Hemsworth is the main reason I recommend that movie. He kills it. All right, so before we unveil number 2, John and I both feel the same about this, is there are some days number 2 would be number 1, and there are some days number 1 would be number 2. It's just the way it works. And on this particular day, at the end of the year, I have to put this one at number 2, even though I think arguably it's the better film.
On your DVD shelf where it doesn't matter. Logan will be number 1.
Yeah, because I don't have like a single issue with this movie. I'm just talking strictly from emotional experience.
When you've had a longer love of Wolverine in general than you know, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I mean, we already made number 2, number 1 by saying that. What other movies are left? No! Whatever, most people have clicked off the video by now. So number 2 is Logan, in case you haven't picked up. John and I talked for forever about this movie on the interweb. This was a film that we saw on opening night, and IMAX was fantastic. And then we saw black and white the second time we watched it. The film is a masterpiece in my mind, and I do think it is technically the better film.
It's the most filmy film on this list.
Yeah, and it's a great way to send off Wolverine, and even though Disney and Fox have a deal, would I like to see Hugh Jackman in the Avengers? Sure, but I hope he doesn't do it. I don't think he is. I mean, what more can you really say about this film, man? It's epic in its scope, and it does something really challenging, which is for like the 10th X-Men film to make a movie where if you watch the other X-Men movies, it makes this film a million times better. I still think one can definitely appreciate this film without seeing the other X-Men movies. It's emotional. It's got some of the best action sequences. Like, maybe not like crazy choreographed or heavy visual effects, but the intensity.
Memorable,
and some really cool stuff in general. This was a serious, dour film. When Logan goes running through the forest at the end, I remember I had to cheer. Yeah, and I think I was the only one. Hey
man, but you were moved.
I was so moved. I'm like, I have to cheer. This is awesome. Yeah,
I mean, it's a sci-fi western noir movie, and like that's really striking in this time where we keep arguing about is the bubble gonna burst. Movies like this prove that there's so much else you can do with these characters and with powers and stuff
Oscar
like that.
It's Oscar caliber, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Hugh Jackman, I mean, he just lives that role, and so does I'm
Patrick Stewart.
I was about to call him Charles Dickens, but that was Patrick Stewart. Like that's a terrific Professor X performance too, because that's also their swan songs together. Daphne Keane.
Yeah.
Like they're all so
it's a great film.
It's magical,
and it's probably the best one, but I wouldn't say emotionally my favorite one, just because it's a film you have to be patient and you have to be in a mood to watch it.
You also remember the second time you see it. Oh yeah, this is a film.
This is heavy.
Pay attention. Can't just like shovel popcorn.
All right, so number 1 is Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
And the reason why I think Wonder Woman is the film as a movie theater going experience gave me everything I wanted.
There was energy in the room too.
I've never heard John cry so much. I think I cried like 2 or 3 times in this movie. It's just
I cry a lot when I'm alone.
This movie did something that I don't think another superhero movie has actually done for me, which is move me to tears by heroism.
I know, right?
Which is kind of shocking after like the 150,000 movies we've
says
got.
something about hero movies.
But when she walks onto that battlefield, like, oh my gosh, there are times I'll listen to the Wonder Woman music while I'm working out. Yeah. Imagine the scene in my eyes get teary-eyed.
You can do anything.
Yeah. It has so much heart. I remember laughing. I remember crying. There are action sequences in this film that are phenomenal in the movie, and some great designs. It's a period piece. It's romantic. Sure, are there issues with the finale? Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a comic book movie, but you know what? It does that stuff pretty well anyway, and it does a whole bunch of other interesting stuff along the way.
And when it's in the finale, even though there's issues I have, there's stuff intermittently between it. When Wonder Woman is fighting Ares, there's stuff there that I don't really care about. I mean, the CGI stuff. But then it would also cut back to stuff going on with Steve Trevor. And Steve Trevor, you know, doing his thing made me, like, start tearing up again. So
yeah, because he's a character you're bonded to, and they're real stakes,
and then it affected the fight that she was having with Ares.
Yeah, it had an emotional effect on her.
So then the fight got good.
Yeah, exactly. And for Patty Jenkins, too, like, what an awesome move to come in and make, like, the defining DCEU movie.
The defining female superhero movie.
Take, like, all the chaos from what came before it and turn this into, like, a perfectly, pretty well executed, like, fantasy superhero movie that's also a period piece. Like, it gets a lot of its stuff really right, and it borrows that inspiration from Superman in a really great way that you can pick up on, but that's not aping it at the same time. Yeah. And it's rousing. It's a rousing movie. It's a
beautiful film, and the comic book movie that moved me the most this year. So do I intellectually think Logan is the better movie? Mentally, yeah. Emotionally, Wonder Woman stole my heart. Yeah. Well, you have to agree with our list, right?
Yeah, because this is required because you're watching the video.
You're watching a video and you're hearing opinions.
DC paid us to tell you to watch this video.
Yeah, DC...
And Marvel did too.
DC paid us to have Guardians be number 8 and Wonder Woman be number 1.
Marvel paid us to put Justice League at number 5.
Marvel said, at least make 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, you know, Marvel movies. Yeah. And then whatever company that did Kingsman talked to us too.
And then, I don't know, the people from IMAX paid for that one.
Well, Happy New Year. I hope you have a great New Year full of lots and lots of joy, you know,
reflection and resolutions.
I hope you start the year off partying, so that way you can be
drunken.
Like, oh, I'm gonna start the new year off with a really positive vibe, which means there's gonna be no obstacles along the way in 2018. It's just gonna be nothing but positivity if I start day one off great.
This year's gonna be my year, I tells ya, just like all the years before it.
Subscribe to The Real Rejects, click that notification bell. You could follow us on the Stardust app, download the link in the description box, and check out our Patreon. Become a patron eject today, people. It's like a second YouTube channel, but a little more intimate.